How's it going, everybody? This is your astrology horoscope for Wednesday, March 20th, 2024. I'm astrologer Alex Skyles, and welcome to the Moonbase. I'm a little sleepy. I'm filming this right before the sun moves into Aries, so this last degree of Pisces is very sleepy. Very sleepy. I feel like I've been floating all day and haven't really been able to get much done, even though I have a lot to do. So, trying not to control the energy, trying to ride through it and let it flow. And yeah, so anyway, so today here on Wednesday, Mercury is at 18 degrees of Aries. So Chiron is now at 18 degrees as well. And I think today, with this Mercury-Chiron conjunction, this is a very important day to really dig deep into these wounds, that are connected to our ego and ourselves and, where things haven't looked the way we wanted them to look. I think, we can get a lot of information and really start to dig deep, mentally into this place within ourselves to really get some answers here, and this is also really officially the first day where the sun is in zero Aries all day, because the sun didn't go into Aries till last night, right? 8 o'clock here on the West Coast. So now that the sun's in Aries, Mercury at 18, Chiron at 18, Mercury-Chiron conjunction, today, we're really thinking a lot about what we've overcome, and now starting to dig deep mentally into this place of where ourselves need a lot of healing and need to focus that healing and to really get more information on maybe things that weren't necessarily clear over the past really few months, as Chiron and the North Node approached each other, as it, sort of developed, because it's more of about when conjunctions happen. To me, it's not necessarily about when the conjunction happens. It's more about things that happen as a conjunction is coming on, as it develops, and by the time we get to it, then it happens, and then we're moving forward, right? So I think there's new information and new insights we can gain today about what we've been going through with this whole Chiron North Node conjunction. And definitely karmically is, playing out in a whole different way. And I think too, this is a lot of karmic and fated things that are coming into our lives, and a lot of situations that seem to be karmic and fated playing out with this Venus-Saturn conjunction. And we're in eclipse season. So when we're in an eclipse season, it's all about, karmic stuff coming up and karmic things ending. We're about to have a full moon here, an eclipse. So it's very much an ending to a lot of this karmic baggage that we've been carrying. And I think this Mercury-Chiron conjunction is giving us a lot of info on where we need to really look at ourselves. Look at our individual selves. And we've gotten a lot of information about how our relationships have been, and we definitely have had to make some real decisions over these past few months, going through this, that's connected to the South Node, and Chiron on the North Node opposing the South Node, and being willing to let go of, partnerships and relationships that really are not serving any purpose for us, and where we're headed and what we're moving into, as this new identity that we're forming, So this Mercury-Chiron conjunction too is it's all about like reshaping our identity, but reshaping it in a way where we can face a lot of our traumas and our wounds, and where things just haven't played out the way we wanted them to. But we got to remember that when we're in a nodal cycle, an eclipse season, and when we're in, major Saturn transits, especially with Venus, that's connected to our relationships and our partnerships and, our values, especially. And with the South Node, Venus depositing the South Node, this brings up a lot of values and what relationships really bring value into our lives and where relationships have devalued our lives, and what is spiritually connected, with Venus and Pisces. And what relationships are spiritually connected. So I think, reshaping our identities in new ways and breaking free from old patterns that have been sabotaging, that we have been sabotaging ourselves with and getting stuck in that loop. It's easy for us human beings to just get caught in these loops, and we've had to address that a lot with the Mercury-Neptune conjunction that we just went through and the Sun-Neptune conjunction, So it's really addressing a lot of these patterns where we just kind of self-sabotage, where, like this Mercury Chiron conjunction too, it can, it can bring up a lot of shame and, maybe guilt in some sort of way, but also like not bringing it up in a negative way, bringing it up in a way where it's like, we can actually look at it and analyze it and mentalize it and have, a different perspective of it. And karmically, I think this is connected to a lot of where we've just kind of given ourselves away or where we haven't focused on ourselves enough, and I think what we can take from this is, that we really have to reshape our identities and not be afraid to really take on our own path here and let go of whatever relationship stuff isn't working out. That's really holding us back and bringing us down into the dumps of this South Node, and this is what's going to be coming up with this full moon lunar eclipse at 5 degrees of Libra here. Once the moon's at 10 degrees of Leo, so we have about 3 or 4 days here. I don't remember the exact day off the top of my head, but yeah. So I mean, and as this Mercury Chiron conjunction is happening, there's going to be this inconjunction from the moon in Leo to Venus here. So this moon, it really wants to express itself and be bold and be, loud and create amazing, beautiful things. And so does this Venus, But we have to really be sensitive of others and be compassionate of others and not just, be too caught up in ourselves. So we have to think about the bigger picture here and think about how other people are involved, and how we can co-create and not just focus on ourselves here. And this can be kind of a weird vibration today of, realizing that, with this Mercury Chiron conjunction, we have to focus on ourselves and mentalize where we need to focus on our healing and really address what we went through with this Chiron North Node conjunction, but also like when it's connected to, or how it's connected to our values and our spiritual connections and our relationships and what commitments we really need to make and where things just feel a little off, if things feel a little off today when it comes to our relationships and our, our Venus, the Venus aspect of our lives, I think we really just have to focus on creating with this moon in Leo, especially now with the sun in Aries and Mercury blazing through Aries. We don't have that much time. Mercury's about to be on its way into the third decan of Aries here. So we really have to focus on creation, but also like how can we integrate spiritually with other people and the people that really bring value into our lives and the people we want to commit to. And if we get too caught up in the ego shit and we get too caught up in that, very self-centered way of being and just emotionally, not thinking about other people's emotional states and fragility, Venus in Pisces is very forgiving as well. So, when things get a little weird, things get a little tense, or if you feel like people aren't paying attention to you as much as you want to be paid attention to you, we have to forgive people at the end of the day and not take things too personally. The moon in Leo can really take things personally, right? Venus in Pisces, Pisces in general, it doesn't take things necessarily so personal in a way that a Leo or an Aries person does, but it can definitely absorb all emotions and feelings and attach them to itself and take on other people's emotions or other people's shame or other people's guilt, and that comes up with this Mercury Chiron as well, is also like feeling, like being able to discern what is your own issues and what are other people's issues that you're just absorbing and taking on, I think with this conversation happening with this moon and Venus at a weird angle and this Mercury Chiron conjunction, and now with this Sun in Aries and Venus and Saturn 2 degrees away from each other, it's like if where we're trying to commit to in life spiritually and creatively and romantically and in our love life, if it just feels a little off, we just have to, remind ourselves that other people's issues are not our own today, right? And this Mercury Chiron conjunction can really give us insight into where we need to focus in on what our own issues within ourselves are. And I think that very much became clear with the Chiron North Node conjunction, or it started to become clear. It's not like it just became clear when Chiron and the North Node conjunct, but now with Mercury just crossing the North Node, which we got a lot of messages here, or we got a lot of messages when that conjunction happened last week. Now with Mercury making its conjunction with Chiron, then we can actually really get the bigger picture here. And then once the sun comes closer towards Chiron, then it will be like the light bulbs kind of turn on, right? So we want to be clear about the messages coming through and where we really need to focus our mental attention here. The pathway might not be 100% clear on where we need to really address what we really need to address. I think we're starting to get a better understanding of what that is, but the picture might not be fully clear yet. And when the sun comes closer to Chiron, then it'll be illuminated, right? That's what the sun does. It shines bright. It will clear all darkness. So we want to take accountability for our own actions and not absorb other people's stuff today, which could be very easy with Venus in Pisces and Neptune's still in Pisces, and we just came out of that conjunction, which was very draining, but also spiritually rejuvenating. I think, now we can start to really feel much more spiritually revitalized coming into this astrological new year. Let's see, I want to check on, because Jupiter here is about, hey, there it is. Jupiter is at 15 degrees. So it is coming out of shadow now. So this is great. This is really a good thing. So, as much as our lives are expanding in a much more practical and material way with Jupiter and Taurus, now we can start to really see things come through in a very big way, right? And all the hard work that we've been paying off, where things have seemed to not really pay off, or, we haven't been getting what we're, getting our worth, or, our value. We feel like our value isn't being seen or understood. I think things can really start to turn around in that regard. And today, I think that this is going to light this up too, because with Jupiter finally starting to come out of shadow, and this moon in Leo around this evening is going to be at 15 degrees, and it's going to square over to Jupiter. So, this can definitely bring up a lot of, this is an optimistic square, right? It can be challenging, but there's a lot more optimism starting to come through with Jupiter coming out of shadow, and it's like, I am ready to create. I am ready to invent some shit, like Jupiter is getting closer to Uranus. So it's like, if you feel like you're on a path of some new idea and some big idea, it's like, good for you, because you probably are. And I think we're going to see some really amazing things pop up in the world. Some people coming out of the woodworks with some brand new ideas and ways of doing things, and the ways of, kind of breaking free from the norm to really set the tone to help people and help humanity liberate from the status quo to really create a new way of life. And I think with this moon in Leo squaring to Jupiter, as Jupiter is starting to come out of shadow here, this is like giving us this friction here, is giving us this kind of push and this nudge to like, hey, like we have to, if we want to expand our lives in a really powerful way and in a very big way and utilize this Jupiter Taurus conjunction with Uranus and Taurus, it's like we have to be willing to express our heart and be willing to not give a fuck about what other people think and just do what we must do to really make a difference here, And as this is happening, it's like we just talked about this Mercury-Chiron conjunction, but, Mercury's now past Chiron as this square is happening. So it's like, like if you feel like you get stuck in a rut, with this Chiron in Aries, it's just like, I don't feel like I'm worthy. I don't feel good about myself. It's like, think about, what you're actually doing for yourself, like, and where you need to fulfill that creative potential within you. I think that's what this Mercury really wants to do here. And Mercury is, in its shadow now. So, a lot of what we're going to be experiencing through this Mercury retrograde is going to start to come up too. And, we want to, at this point, and I can honestly say, like, going into this Mercury retrograde and the eclipse season, we want to cross the T's and dot the I's right now, and gain some awareness and maybe have an outside perspective or a fourth dimensional perspective of like, okay, what's going on right now? What information do I need to take in right now? Because we're going into this Mercury retrograde and I want to remember what we're experiencing. Because to me, personally, when Mercury's in shadow, before it goes retrograde, it kind of gives us the insights of what we're about to step into, because it's like Mercury's crossing the same degrees. So it's like we're basically like going through the same territory multiple times, 3 times, really. Because Mercury will go to 27 degrees of Aries, and then it'll come back to, I think it goes direct at 15, and then it'll cross right back through that. So that's what these retrogrades are about, is like we have to double check things and overlook things, or make sure we're not overlooking things, and look over things multiple times, and remember, it's like, okay, this is what we're going through right now, because it's going to come up even more so in this Mercury retrograde. But, with this moon squaring Jupiter at the end of the day, while Mercury passes Chiron, we have to remember, it's like, if we really want to focus on healing and really be able to like rationalize what we need to do for ourselves, it really comes down to creating, because we want to expand our lives in a practical way, which is what Jupiter and Taurus does. Not just this, ridiculous, perspective of, I want to be a billionaire, we'd all love that, right? But it's like, we want to create things in our lives and actually put our minds to work and utilize this healing energy with this Chiron and how it's being activated by Mercury today in our minds to really focus that attention and focus that energy confidently. This moon in Leo, it wants to, express itself confidently. So I think today we can break some ruts today, and this moon square Jupiter can really help us expand past these ruts that we may have been stuck in. And especially with Jupiter coming out of shadow, this is definitely going to start to show up in our lives of like, wow, because now Jupiter is officially on its way to Uranus. So expect some things to, you know, some exciting things to start to show up in our lives, you know, but in a practical way. You know, we have to remember that with Jupiter. You know, you go on the TikTok astrology and shit, it's just like, that's all you hear about is Jupiter and Jupiter and Jupiter and Venus and Jupiter and Jupiter. You know, it's like, when's my Jupiter happening? I swear, it's like, when I was first doing readings for people, it's like, they just want to hear about Jupiter, you know. Well, let me tell you, now it's coming out of shadow, and now that it's on its way to Uranus, I think this is a moment, and it's a rare moment, that we're going to see some amazing expansion in our lives, and we're going to see things really start to show up in a positive, powerful way. As long as you've been on the path, putting in the effort, because that's what manifestation is all about, is having the vision in your mind and actually acting upon that vision and having faith, you know, in that vision. So, pulled the Knight of Swords today. So, you know, the Knight of Swords, it's, you know, this could be, you know, sometimes we got to be a little cold. Sometimes we really got to just cut through the bullshit. And that's what this Mercury in Aries does best, is just cut through the bullshit and say, you know what, this is how I really feel. And maybe with this Mercury Chiron conjunction, you really just need to say how you really feel and just get some shit off your chest, right? And express yourself. Because maybe with this Mercury Chiron conjunction too, it's like you might be a little afraid to say how you feel, you know. But it's ironic with Mercury and Aries. I'm a Mercury Aries person, so in the 12th house actually. But you know, it's really just, if you really need to get some shit off your chest, you know, you don't want to be afraid to do so, and just get down to the truth. You know, even if it could come off as cold or harsh or brash, you know, it's fine. It's okay. It's meant to be. And I think, like I said, it's like with this Venus and Pisces, you know, having understanding and having compassion for other people, no matter where they're at, is very important at this moment. And having understanding, you know, and understanding the precious nature that we're all unique and we all express ourselves in different ways and have different perspectives. And that's okay. So, you know, this Mercury is really starting to plow, but once it gets to 27 degrees, you know, it's really going to start to slow down here towards the end of the week, going into next week. So we definitely want to be checking things off and getting things done and clearing the decks. And, you know, retrogrades are nothing to be scared of. Mercury retrograde is nothing to be scared of, but it's definitely something you always want to be prepared for. So thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate all of you every single day for being here with me. If you're new here, subscribe to my channel, share this video, like this video, leave a comment, say what's up. Find me on the Instagram. These horoscopes are on Spotify. If you want to book a reading with me, the link to my website is in the description of this video, with all of my platforms, to all of my social media where you can find me and all that good stuff. So I will see you all on Thursday. Have a good one. Peace out.